Are we about ready?
We are.
Okay, well, it's nice seeing everybody smiling and beautiful faces, even though you don't feel good, Natasha, you look gorgeous. And it's really, really good to see everybody. CCI, of course, our mission is to support Community Coalition's efforts to prevent youth substance abuse in Idaho. And our vision is safe and healthy Idaho communities free of substance abuse. David's putting in so we know who our staff is, which is probably good because even though I've had a lot of coffee, it's still not enough.
Yeah, so Lindsay's doing double duty today. She's also taking minutes, so bear with her. We are, recording this, but she's going to be typing in those of you as you introduce yourself so that we have a good accounting of who's here for the minutes, right, Lindsay?
Yes, but I will make a copy of this document so you don't have to see me backspace a million times and see how bad my typing is. So I'll make it. I didn't realize this is the copy you had open.
Oh, David, consent agenda, take it away.
So Lindsay sent out on Friday a copy of the meeting minutes from last month's meeting, as well as the financial report. So unless anybody has any questions or concerns, looking for a motion to approve both documents.
I motion to approve both.
Natasha Needham seconds.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we are good with the consent agenda, Rose.
Okay, so the SPIF SIG grant, which came out April 1st, and I started working on it 1st of May, second week of May. Anyway, so all of us, David, Lindsay, Jim, and I worked on this SPIF SIG grant with, I think it was Health and Human Services or HRSA that was putting it out. And finally, I pulled the plug on it Friday. And here's why I pulled the plug on it Friday. I had originally started writing it so that we could go after the underserved populations of the immigrants and refugees in Idaho. We don't have a lot of data on the immigrants and refugees in Idaho. So midstream, we're trying to put things together about the youth in Idaho. In the meantime, we're getting all these notices on all of these different regions that have also put in for the SPIF SIG grant. And they're only going to award money to 44 entities around the country, not just in Idaho, but nationwide. So after David almost ended up in the ocean because he took a drive to relax, and Lindsay was going through a lot of stuff, and I was going through a lot of stuff, and Jim ended up sick. I made the executive decision that there is no amount of money and no grant in the world worth the amount of stress that we were going through to try to put in a grant that was as competitive as the SPIF SIG. So I pulled the plug on it Friday. Our efforts are going to be geared toward finishing out the DFC this year and looking at funding opportunities that are more realistic for what we want to do. So does anyone have any questions? Come on, questions, comments.
I will add that we weren't the only entity applying for this in Idaho and decided it was too competitive and dropped out. There was other health districts that were applying to that just looked at the amount of work, the brevity ahead of it. There's 2 health districts that hired professional grant writers and had teams of 5 and 7 people working on just this one grant. And we were going up against those plus the Idaho Office of Drug Policy on this one. So there's a couple of foundations that Lindsay and I have been working with as we were writing this grant that look like they want to bring CCI into their fold. And then St. Luke's does have their grant period opening up here in the next month or two. That Dawn Callahan from the 2C told me about. I'm hoping to lean on her insider expertise on how kind of what they're looking for. So there's plenty of opportunities. We did really well in our first year of Idaho Gives. So I don't see any reason for this to be, I agree with Rose. We talked about this on Friday. It was just too much. Too big of a grant and too much on the staff.
Plus it's a reimbursement grant, and I have administered reimbursement grants, so you need an organization that has the money that you can spend. For example, we'd have to spend the money and then get reimbursed for it through the grant. So we don't have that umbrella organization that we can get money from and then reimburse them. So I looked at, well, maybe we can figure something out if we get funded, but at the point after talking to David and everybody, I just thought, you know what, we're not going to do this. We got a lot of really good information together, a lot of good narrative together that we all put into our little grant booklet for future use. But like I said, I pulled the plug. If we're going to submit a grant, it's going to be a good grant and it's going to look good. And it's not going to be nightmare that gives us a black eye. I'm not okay with that. So a job worth doing is a job worth doing well, and we weren't doing very well with this grant. So
do you want to tell everybody, because there's a couple people that jumped in the middle of that, what we're not applying for, what we pulled the plug on?
Oh, we pulled the plug on the SPIF-SIG grant through Health and Human Services. I pulled the plug. I made the executive decision on Friday after talking to David and Lindsay and Jim. We'd started out the narrative on dealing with the underserved populations of refugees and immigrants. We don't have enough data on that. So midstream, last week, we decided to do youth, and we just could not pull everything together. So I pulled the plug on it Friday afternoon. And we did not submit it. So that's on
we
me.
do have lots of good information that we can use for the subsequent grant opportunities and other funding opportunities.
So that is it. And like I said, this is after discussing things with David and Lindsay and Jim. And we're not going to submit garbage. Just not going to happen. So, okay. Any questions, comments? Or shock and awe, whatever? Nope.
Hi, Dawn from St. Luke's, everyone. I'm going to put in the chat a team member, part of our community health team, Deanna Gomez. She works with the Mexican consulate and does other outreach for underserved communities. She may be a good resource for things like data and,
Well, that's good to know, Dawn, because what we have done with the DFC and all these little grants and different things that we have written, even if they're not funded, we keep that information together for future use.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of the refugees, asylum seekers, immigrants coming into our state. And I think we need to be prepared to deal and to help them and to help their children, because it's not just a culture, it's a total culture change. So that's good information, Dawn. Thank you.
Yeah.
David?
Okay, so moving on. Anybody else have any questions or comments about the SPIF-SIG before we move on? Just want to make sure. Okay. So we had last couple months, we did have 2 trainings with Six Sided Service with Michael Barnett. Basically, his workshops were on how to um, better relate with your customers and really looking at customers are more than just the people who would walk into your store, buy your product and leave, but customers are your staff, customers are your volunteers. He came at it from a perspective of a nonprofit, of a communities based organization. Those that did attend got a copy of his book, Customer Relationship Imprinting. Really good book. It's got some areas where you can kind of work out what that looks like for your organization. We do have recordings to both workshops. The first one is there. We have the recording to the second one as well. So if anybody's interested in watching those and kind of seeing what those of us learned in real time, feel free to reach out. I think I'm going to get these up on YouTube to make it easier. But in the meantime, we do have the Zoom links for both workshops. Did anybody have any questions about those? Did anybody who's here go to either workshop? Don't think anybody who's here right now.
I watched one. I think it may have been the first one
Okay.
and found it very interesting, but I didn't get to go on from there. So
I
Well,
went
we-
to the first one, watched the second.
Well, we can send you the recording to the second one, Susie.
okay, thank you.
I was there for both, and I know I'm like, everyone probably assumed that, but I would say one of the things that I really appreciated talking about as well on that is we talked about some of the tools that a lot of us coalitions have, like I'm sure some of you guys have MailChimp or things like that. That's what we specifically use. And he gave me a lot of good information and talking about and opened my eyes to things I could be using for the tools that CCI already has in a more effective way. And so if you're kind of looking for anything like that, I would say give it a go. So.
Okay, so moving on, we do have elections that we need to finish up. I believe, unless it's changed, Natasha is the only person we have that said that she said she would continue as vice chair. She actually said she'd do whatever we wanted, so we're gonna have her do a bunch of stuff now. Natasha is willing to continue to sit on the board as the vice chair. I've not heard one way or the other from David Roth. I think he said he might, at one time he said he might be able to fill the role because he's still with BYDC, but I think that has changed since then. So we are looking for a treasurer. Is anybody in the meeting now willing? Does anybody have any nominations for either position, or do you know someone you might be able to reach out to that you think might be a good fit?
Don't everybody talk at once.
And really, in a treasurer role, you would really, we haven't utilized that board position correctly, because we have an accounting firm. But I'd like to start working with the board on changing that, looking for ways. I know it's hard because we're all spread out all across the state, but how can we adequately do it? I know David Roth and I had some opportunities that we tried to like get together and go over the financials. Financials really are an open book to everybody in the coalition. You guys see the expense reports. Nothing that goes through the bank account doesn't get put on the expense report. And what's nice is the accounting firm does audit the account every single month. So if something pops up, like if I ran to Walmart to get copy paper, she asks me, because it doesn't come up Walmart copy paper, it just says Walmart and the price. And so she's like, what did you get at Walmart for X amount of dollars? and I have to let her know what that expense was for. So, and I do save most of the receipts. I think a couple have been lost in the shuffle, but I try to keep, I have a folder in a box here in the office that has receipts for all of the purchases, and the accounting firm helps us out with the taxes and the payroll. So the payroll does get approved by Rose. She sees the timesheets before the accounting firm cuts the checks. They come to me first, I give them a glance, then I send them to Rose for final approval, and then that's when the accounting firm will cut payroll for both staff members and contractors. So that's kind of that process. But Rose and I have been talking the last month about we need to sit down and kind of go over some of our procedures, tighten some things up. So it's a great opportunity if you have an interest in being a part of the board, being a part of making some decisions. It'd be great opportunity to be a part of those processes. So
Yeah. Plus, we're a lot of fun, you know. The
we did
executive-
have a pretty cool board retreat in Boise where we did the strengths with Sylvia and Aaron. So there are opportunities for personal growth as well on the board. We try to make sure that our board has all the tools they can be, not only to be successful for us, but to be successful for your own organization. So there is something that we try to create opportunities for you to be able to be a great board member for us, but also bring stuff back to your own organizations. So what would Rose, do you think it would be good if we kind of kept this open for a month and circled back around to the next meeting?
Yeah, I think so. David and I are going to try to meet this month. I have to be in Boise for a community health workers training and Meridian or conference or whatever. I don't know. It's on my calendar anyway. But we are going to get an extension, hopefully, on our DFC for this year, for the funds that we have for this year. And so we're going to keep moving forward. And it would be great to have someone new step in as treasurer. So yeah, we'll keep it open another month. Think about it. If you have any questions, you can talk to me or David or Lindsay or whatever.
Are you still good with another 2 years as the vice chair, Natasha? Okay. Making sure nothing changed. Okay.
Well, lots changed.
In that capacity. Lindsay, do you want to go over a brief update on Idaho Gives, our first year?
Yes, give me 1 second to get back to you. I've got other minutes open and I've lost you. Idaho Gives was great. It's one thing about Idaho Gives that I would like to point out before we go over numbers is every year it becomes stronger, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen that in your own coalitions, in your own organizations. The first try you do something, you might have success, but success looks different every year. So yeah, that's what I would say about it. We had great conversations with people and partnerships. A couple of those David kind of briefly mentioned. One of those is I've had good conversations with D.L. Evans Bank. I've also had good conversations with a couple, I'm a country bumpkin, as we all know, and there's a lot of cheese farms in Idaho. If you didn't know, cheese factories are big here. I didn't know, but and there's great partnership conversations going on. There's a couple near Jerome that we're talking about that came from Idaho Gives, as well as Cliff Bar. So I'm hopeful. But one of our biggest sponsorships was from Danielle Finopoulos. We're so happy she's here and always supports us. We were able to get from Imagine by North Point. They made us a contribution of $1,500. So we're so appreciative to that. We also got some from our media group, family, friends, the Burlington Convention Center here in town where I live. They've worked with us on a few things in the past. They wanted to support our thing. But yeah, overall, CCI was able to raise $2,725. So while, again, this was a huge success for us, and we're excited to see how this grows.
Yeah, and I
David.
will say that the partnership with Iliad Media Group, if nothing else, people heard about CCI in a multitude of ways, not only over the radio, but through their email blast, through multiple radio stations. And we even got up on a couple of their electronic billboards, which was kind of nice. And then just some of the hosts of the show actually went above and beyond, and they put some of their own personal money behind our campaign, which was nice to see. I mean, the director of Iliad Media Group gave us a $500 donation, so lots of really good things. And like Lindsay said, conversations. I know I had a conversation with Melanie Olmstead with Westmark Credit Union, and they do a lot of community giving. They were already pretty much spent when I had a conversation with her, but she would like to have a conversation or continue the conversation about Westmark being a part of Community Coalitions of Idaho sustainability. So this is really where Lindsay and I tend to shine, is these external partnerships, these opportunities to leverage money out of local organizations. And the partnership with Iliad Media Group is continuing on. They also want to be a part of our sustainability, so they want to make sure that we can continue to operate. If we want any, they told us that if we have any programs that need any ad space in the Treasure Valley or Magic Valley, that they will give us whatever we spend. They'll give us another one for free. So it's basically like we buy an ad to get 2 ads for the price of 1. So neat opportunities. And then also out of that, we are developing a relationship and a partnership with Boise Police Department. So Idaho Gives became more than just a dollars and cents opportunity. It was really an opportunity to do a lot of connecting, having a lot of conversations. And I just want to thank everybody who even put out an email, anybody who gave even a little bit. I know there was a business that gave a little bit of money and then gave me lunch while I was out hitting the streets. So just really appreciate those partners that did what they could. So okay, moving on. So we do have a new member. He's not here today. His name is Daniel Estes. We had talked about him. He came on. He is the lobbyist for the Idaho Hospital Association. He is a member and is interested in chairing the legislative committee, and I wanted to bring that before the membership and have any discussion that we needed to, and see if we could not take a vote on adding him as the legislative chair. I will say that he is filling a spot that is being vacated by David Roth, because he's just not able to do those roles, and he would sit on the legislative chairs also sit on the board as well. So
David, what was his name?
his name is Daniel Estes. He's actually from Oregon. He worked with some coalitions and did some work with believe it was roadway grants. So grants that helped deal with the impacts of inebriated driving. He's been to a few of the Meridian Anti-Drug Coalition meetings. I got a chance to have a conversation with a meeting, and then we sat together, grabbed coffee, and he's been plugging in with me and Monty on a lot of the marijuana issues, as well as other prevention related topics. He has a really good understanding of the what, where, and why when it comes to what's happening in Boise during the legislative session, and he knows a lot of these people because he's there all the time. That's one of the things that we can't have, like, you can't have an official lobbyist for CCI, but having someone who does work for another organization who has all these connections is extremely helpful. His knowledge, only being here a short time in Idaho, I'm like, how did you get this information? So literally, he lives and breathes this stuff. So I personally vetted him. He's ready to make sure that we can do what we can to support legislation that helps us move prevention forward here in Idaho. And also he's willing to do some trainings and stuff for us to help all of us be better at this legislative piece when it comes to Idaho politics.
So he lives in Oregon.
No, he lives in Meridian now. He moved here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's wonderful.
Do you have anything, Kendall? I know you've met him. once or
Yeah, I was just
twice.
you covered most of it. I think he would be an excellent addition. I think that I've met with him, he's met with our chief. He has a passion and a knowledge and understands the diplomacy that comes with doing this kind of work, and has the legislative process knowledge, and is working diligently on those relationships. And so I think it would be great to have him. He's also someone who, if we're not getting stuff done, he might move on. So he's one where we want to definitely make sure that we've got all our ducks in a row, to work together with him and make that committee a success. Because I've worked with so many people over the years that sometimes they move on if they don't feel like there's enough progress being made and things aren't pulled together enough. So I know we're all in this with a lot of passion and heart and dedication, but it's just one of those things that I guess that I wanted to reiterate, because he's a good catch.
Yeah, even Marco made comments to me after he attended our first meeting, like that's something we need to make sure we lock down quick. So
Makes sense.
so if there's no more questions or comments, can I get a motion to welcome him in as the legislative chair so I can get him up to speed?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Susie.
Second, this is Kendall.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, the next item that I have listed here is the next meeting for July falls on July 3rd. And there's nothing that kills attendance at a meeting better than being in between a Sunday and a massive holiday like the 4th of July. The summer already kills our meetings because everybody knows that winter is real here in Idaho and it tends to never go away. So the minute we see the sunshine, we all want to go outside. Not demonizing that. I completely agree. I'd rather be outside. Sometimes I take my laptop onto my patio just to breathe the fresh air. But do we have any, this is a participation piece for everybody. So everybody wake up, turn on your microphones. What do we want to do? Do we want to move it to the next Monday? Do we want to skip it, go to August? Speak now, because We
The-
need help.
The thing that we need to look at is what we're gonna do about the nominations for vice and treasurer. So if that's something that you could do in 10 minutes after the 4th of July, my suggestion, unless there's something pressing, just make a quick Zoom meeting to cover that and then meet again in August.
That's an option.
I like that.
personally- Oh, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was saying, I like that option.
Agreed.
Yeah, I personally think that there's a lot going on with CCI right now, obviously, and there's a lot of changing month to month. So I personally think that maybe if we could just move it instead of being on that third, bumping it to the second Monday of that month. So that would be the 10th, not only to do nominations, but also to just kind of see where things are at, how, like Kendall had just said, if we're kind of waiting around on things, we might lose out on certain opportunities. I think I personally, I just like you all so much. This is my favorite part about my job. So I personally think that we should not skip a month or make a super short meeting, but maybe just move it to the next week.
Makes sense, Lindsay. Yeah, I'm available either Monday, but I think the following Monday for families that go camping, especially in Orfino, that is a real thing. The whole town will empty. So I think the following Monday is a perfect idea.
I agree. I just think it's important that we continue to meet and keep the connections and the conversations going through this time of transition and change. So whatever works best for everybody.
I'm for the 10th.
Okay,
I move that we move our meeting to the 10th, regular time.
So Natasha, I second it.
any more discussion? All in favor?
I,
Hey,
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, guys. Okay. So subcommittee reports are gonna be really weird, because Grace has moved on to Philadelphia. Why couldn't they bring that up? To get her doctorate, so she is no longer with Idify. So take that off. We are looking for a chair for this committee. If anybody is interested, you can speak up now or speak up later. We don't really have any updates right now. We've been kind of our head in grants, but we have been discussing, and we have to talk to Rose about this. But what's going to happen in the fall? What does that look like? So kind of if you're interested in planning like either of the conferences that we normally do or any of the trainings, this is the committee for you. They also help with the mini, if we do a mini training session or a spotlight during the meetings. So and you can change the when it meets. We leave that up to the committee chairs. So legislative committee will be Daniel. I will plug him in and make sure he is aware of when we meet. I will say that Hemp Fest came and went this year, and I didn't hear much of anything out of it, which was really nice. Me and Monty were a little concerned about that, but nothing came of it, so it was good. We are worried about the distribution of Narcan, now that you have to get it from law enforcement or pharmacies. So hopefully we have more conversations around what the legislators didn't like about that and make some changes, because I think access to Narcan is important. I mean, I got some in my office sitting right here. So
Can I weigh in on that just a little bit?
yep.
We had a conversation, we met with a representative from, I think it's Trivium,
Uh-huh.
Life Services. They actually have a vending machine at their Boise location where Narcan is available for free. And right now they still have some. So I just wanted to put that out there for people in this area.
So it still is available, which is good.
Now that's a fun idea. A vending machine of it. I'm like, guys, I like that. That makes me excited to think about.
Also, the harm reduction project, the one in Caldwell, I don't know if there's other locations, has
And something I liked, I went to Dawn's fentanyl event earlier in May, and they were handing out even like the face protectors, because a lot of times when you just, if you're in giving someone Narcan, it's high possibility you're gonna have to do some form of CPR, at least laying them in a recovery position. So we do have we have some video content on our social media from Dawn's event, from her fentanyl event I believe it was on National Fentanyl Awareness Day, wasn't that, Dawn? At the courthouse?
Yeah, and Southwest District Health did that naloxone training. So I encourage everyone to take that training with your local health district when possible.
Yeah, it was really good information about kind of taking some of the fear away from Narcan use, and then reminding people that they need to have refreshers on that on the CPR side of things, so that they're ready if they ever have to distribute that. Networking and membership haven't met. Danielle, do you have anything to share with everybody since you have everyone's attention?
Not really. Honestly, I've had a lot of work take me over recently and a lot of travel. So I haven't been that best at getting our meetings done.
And our next meeting is it this week?
I have to double check, and I'm flying out on Wednesday.
That's meeting day.
Let me get back to you on that one.
Yeah, we'll get with you, and we'll let you guys know when the next meeting is for her committee if you are interested. One cool thing about Danielle is she was nominated to be Volunteer of the Year with Meridian Anti-Drug Coalition, so that was really cool. It also shows her a level of dedication to prevention, because she is a full-time mom and a race mom too. So it's not like just work and prevention. She's got a lot going on.
Can I share another kudos since you're doing that, David?
Sure.
I'd like to congratulate Susie because she was Volunteer of the Year for the Idaho State Elks Association. So she was recently recognized for that and the great work that she does as far as prevention and all her efforts throughout the year. So good job, Susie. Well deserved.
Woo.
Thank you.
Yes.
Idaho State Elk of the Year is next to honor roll. That's it. So I am so proud, so very, very proud to be recognized as the Idaho State Elk of the Year.
We love it because you're also the prevention gal, so it really helps us elevate the platform of prevention as well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, updates from our region reps. I think we have a couple of our PFS coordinators as well. So why don't we start with, Grace isn't here. Is there Region 1 PFS here? I don't think so. Natasha, you want to let us know what's going on at Orofino?
So we are just continuing to do what we've been doing. School gets out this week. So we have two big events planned for this summer. June 24th, we are blocking off downtown Orofino, and we're doing a big block party. I haven't reached out to some people yet, but I'd like to invite Project Filter. Danielle, I sent you a message as well. Anyone who would like to come and represent their business, whether you do mental health, whether you do drug and alcohol addiction, whatever, we welcome you to come and set up a table information booth for the people in our community. We're going to have a really awesome live band that will play the whole time. It'll run from 4 to 8. We have some people in my community that do Filipino food, so they're going to hook us up with some awesome Filipino food that we can buy. And we are having people come through our line and they'll watch a video on underage vaping and why keeping it away from kids is so important. In exchange for the adult watching that, they will get a raffle ticket to win prizes. And we're going to get a dunk tank and a bunch of kid games, water games, all kinds of stuff. It's just going to be a blast for the whole community. And in August, Saturday the 19th, we are putting on a Renaissance fair complete with craft booths, food booths. There's going to be some sword fighting. Kids will learn how to shoot bow and arrows into targets. Hopefully we'll have some music of the times. Still looking for people who can play that kind of music. But I think that one's going to be an absolute blast. And if people come dressed up in the Renaissance fair fashion, I plan to crown a king and queen for the day. Even giving them their own court jester, which will be one of our Yak kids. So we're going to do a back to school barbecue, hopefully get the teen center just cram packed full of kids this year. That's kind of our hope. And just keep plugging away on getting information out to the community. Did I miss anything, Kelly?
Nope, I think that's good.
That's
I see it.
awesome.
I think at Cami, I think they finally got their skate park done and open. I saw that they are doing some gardening, so getting their garden going. So really cool things happening in Region 2. You know, you guys are always super busy.
They have their youth fest this weekend coming up, and that's always a big event.
That's wonderful. While we're on Region 2, Kaylee emailed me for PFS. She said we had a drug impairment training for educational professionals in late May. We have graduation and summer themed underage drinking positive social norm prevention messages running this month on billboards and coffee sleeves throughout the area. They also provided scholarships for students who attend IDFI's Youth Summit later in the month. Other than that, they're just wrapping up the fiscal year and planning activities for Q5 funding.
Awesome. Okay, Jerry's not here. Dawn, do you want to let us know what you guys got going on over there at the 2C? You're still here?
Yeah. So we did receive year 3 grant funding from ODP. Yay, but it was with a bit of a warning that they would like to see some progression. So we're going to work on that for sure. I mean, we always are. Maybe we didn't report out, you know, as good as we should have. So we'll definitely work on that. But they were specifically after more programming, which is kind of hard when you don't have full-time staff. You know, we have one very part-time staff. So we will, but I know that there's opportunity. So we'll plan a strategic meeting and see what we can do to advance the coalition. We'll be attending Caldwell Family Fun Day this Saturday, huge community event. And we will have 6 bikes to give away. Thanks to Elda at Canyon County Juvenile Probation. And Elda actually will be doing, one of the things we're doing in our meetings is trying to have highlight speakers. And so Elda is our highlight speaker next month, or this month. It's June. Let's see what else. Thanks to Kendall and the Meridian Coalition, we are stealing their idea on parent packets. So we are putting those together this week on Wednesday, having a stuffing party. And let's see what else. As David mentioned, we had actually a really great 2-day event in collaboration. We worked in collaboration with Southwest District Health, Melanie Patterson, and she was the lead on putting these 2 events together. And the first one was a panel on the fentanyl awareness. And it was incredible. We're really bummed that YouTube Live link would not work. Like, we couldn't get it to go. So we did video. So I have some people on my team trying to put that together with the PowerPoint so we can upload that to YouTube. But it was fantastic. And I do have the PowerPoint available if anyone's interested in that, or wants to talk more about, doing a panel. I mean, it was, I still can't get over it, and the information, it's just mind blowing. And then the next day was the Narcan training, which is great. And we had really good attendance at both those events. So those were very successful. And I think that are the main highlights for now. There's just always so much going on and so much to do. But I think that is it for me.
Awesome, thanks. Still don't have Region 4 rep, but Kendall, do you want to give us an update on what's going on in Region 4?
And David, I can do something for Valley County too.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting. It just popped up. I'm not used to having you on. You want to go first?
Kendall can go. I'm getting info right now, so.
Okay.
Okay. So just for the Meridian area, we have a few summer events, expanding some of our partnerships. We had a connection with the Cure event that we presented at and was on the Q&A and had a booth at. Summer reading kickoff took place. This is our 2nd year partnering with Meridian Library District. Great event to offer those parent prevention packets. Very well received, and a lot of community members very grateful to see us, which is great, because sometimes I get a little bummed out or about, oh, we don't need that, move along kind of a thing that you get sometimes when you're out in the community. And we're also working on, Haley's taking the lead on putting together our Catch My Breath curriculum. That'll be a 4-week session that we do with Boys and Girls Club coming up this summer. And then our typical events at the Meridian Speedway. And was excited to see the mayor give a shout out to prevention and take a firm stance in his State of the City, saying that it's easy for him to say that he completely opposes the legalization of marijuana, and emphasizing the support and importance of substance abuse prevention. So that was great as well. So lots of good stuff going on over here.
All right, you want Valley County?
Yep. Kendall.
All right. So still working on them. Patty, the new executive director, she is so busy, but they are working they've got an amazing team. They just did their first youth summit since before COVID. They had 84 kids attend. And so this would be Cascade, McCall, Donley, and New Meadows, and then all the way down to, they had kids from Salmon River School in Riggins. And so they did, it was pretty cool. I went out there for part of it, and they did it at Quaker Hill. It was an all-day event during school. So school counselors or whoever the school sent would attend with the students. They did parent focus groups. They had several of those running. And so I attended one of those, and that was really neat. But then they did youth focus groups they divided the kids into, I think it was 8th grade, 8th, 9th, and 10th that attended. And Jeff, I can't think of Jeff's last name, but he does the play at work.
Oh, Jeff McLaughlin.
Yeah, so he was their keynote speaker, and so it was fun to see him and catch up with him. One of the cool things they've been doing is they've been doing during the month of May. So we had a suicide, another high school student, I believe he was in 9th grade, suicide. And so they did these table talks, I think that was end of April, during the month of May for students at one of our local coffee shops here. They actually closed it down after hours, and they had 40 youth participants each week at these table talks, and they talked about, you know, just different behavioral health things. Kids just wanted to talk, and so that was really cool. And then they helped launch another Planet Youth Coalition in the Tri-Valley area, the Cambridge Council Midvale. And so they've put together like a Planet Youth team. YAC has a Planet Youth team. And so I've been working with them on doing some team stuff and strengths building. So they're rocking and rolling. It's just neat to see.
Awesome. It's good to know they're doing so well. I missed the last meeting, so.
And I'm still working on Patty to attend these, or at least to send a representative, and they've just been so busy. And so I'll work on it. In the meantime, I'll just keep passing information.
I appreciate you being the middleman.
So sorry to hear about the loss of a student, though. That's never okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No.
pretty high up here, it seems like. I feel like in the time that it just seems like it happens a lot for our area. And this was an especially long winter for everybody.
Especially you guys up there. It didn't never stop snowing in the mountains. We didn't get as much down here. So nobody for region 5 or 6, correct? I went through the people who were here. Nobody jumped out. Rose, do you have anything to share about region 7, or should I go to Mallory?
Oh,
I would say one thing really quick before Mallory does. I'm in Region 5. Obviously, I'm not a representative of it, but there's some pretty cool stuff going on with POSM and Acacia. They're a suicide prevention organization, and they have funding through the Lynch Foundation. And it sounds like the Lynch Foundation is interested in expanding the financial stuff that they give out to. CCI does not qualify for any of those. For anyone wondering about that, I've looked into that, but they are interested in funding some Latinos in Action stuff. And so I thought that was pretty exciting for Region 5.
Mallory, do you want to share what's going on in region 7 for your health district PFS program?
Yes, thank you. So as most people probably know, the PFS program officially ends in June, but they have extended a PFS funding into September for health districts that want to request that and participate. And then after that, the Partnership for Success program, I don't know what it'll look like. It sounds like the state level's applying for it, but it doesn't seem like public health districts will be included in that. And that public health districts will have to decide if they want to apply for it on their own. So just so everyone's aware, so we're just working on finishing up all of that. We do have a couple of trainings and events coming up. So we'll send out some things that are at the end of June. So we're going to have an expert training, a screening, brief intervention, and referral to treatment training in June on the 23rd. That Friday. We have limited spots available, but if you're in Region 7 and you want to attend, so Rose, if you have anyone from the Chalice Area Health Clinic that wants to attend, it'll be about basically how do you address situations when an adult or youth discloses substance use. And how do you handle that, and then appropriately provide a brief intervention with a referral to treatment. And then luckily, we have some other funding sources at Eastern Idaho Public Health, so we do plan to continue a lot of our PFS initiatives with other funding. So we're going to continue our Lock Monitor Dispose campaign and giving out medication lock boxes and drug deactivation pouches. That's something that's been very well received by our community and really well wanted. We're going to continue to do some other things as well. Hopefully one of those will be our parenting class. We've had a parenting class a while back and got a lot of feedback afterwards that people wanted another class. So we are lucky in this region that we have some other funding that we're going to be able to continue some of these PFS initiatives once our funding ends from the state. And that's about it, but I do know that Heather Hansen is on. She's our tobacco and vape coordinator here at EIPH, so I don't know if she has anything she wants to share.
David, is salmon part of 7?
Yes,
Yes, it is.
salmon is part of 7.
I would like to share with you that at the end of March, 1st of April, the Idaho State Health Association Drug Awareness Program gave $500 to the Salmon Drug-Free Youth Program, which is part of the Salmon Substance Abuse and Prevention. Amber was the lady's name that we presented it to. And from what I understand, they're doing marvelous work there.
Yeah, I actually have had a chance to hang out with Amber for the day in her classroom. She has a classroom at the high school and go through. She has a program for the middle and the high school students, and then I think they send some representatives from their high school to the adult meeting that meets during lunchtime. So yeah, they're doing some really good work up there in Salmon. I'd love to learn more about the program they asked about, because it'd be something that maybe we could replicate for Chalice, because I know there's a really good need in Chalice as well.
Maybe talk to Amber.
Yes, I should. Heather, did you have anything to share?
We did just start in 2 schools with Catch My Breath. So we will be teaching in the Bonneville School District, throughout the whole district. And Salmon actually has started that, or will start that in their 5th grade classes next year as well. So that's exciting. And then we will be doing Eagle Rock as well. So we'll have that program in a lot more schools next year.
And so when you guys teach this at the schools, is it the school? Are you guys training people at the schools to teach it, or are you guys physically sending people from the health district to the schools to
So we are starting one in Madison County as well. And Allison, who works with Mallory and I, will actually be teaching there. So we'll be starting that in 5th grade, and we'll be doing it in 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th grade. And then in the other schools, I do train the trainer. So I usually teach like a health teacher, or wherever they want it, a PE teacher. We've done superintendents, principals, just whomever they feel like would be the best place to teach it.
Got it. I was just wondering, I was like, there's not that many people. Awesome. Okay, well, I think that covers all of our updates, unless I missed anybody that has an update. Yeah, we really don't have much in the realm of new funding opportunities, so why that? There's nothing there. Does anybody else have anything else before we adjourn for today?
Oh,
I did update here. Next meeting will be July 10th. So that'll be the Monday after 4th of July. I hope everybody has a fun 4th of July. Can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
I just wanted to say real quick, that I
Oh,
appreciate
yeah, go ahead.
everybody's continued effort. I know that times of transition and changes in funding and leadership can be extremely difficult to sustain these types of organizations and nonprofits, and I appreciate everybody who has really stepped up and stayed with it. I just know how hard that can be, and it's appreciated, so I want you guys to know that.
Amen.
And I
think
can
we
make an
all do.
emotion to amend to, or end.
Thank
If we need
you.
to.
This is Natasha. I second that motion, and I think we all rock. So, you know, we're all awesome.
You guys all are amazing. I love you guys all. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
All right. Any opposed? I didn't think so. All right, everyone go enjoy the rest of your day. Be productive, and we will see you after the 4th of July.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy 4th.
Yeah.